Hello everybody and good morning. Welcome to the MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show. So we are going over the book, How to Have Confidence and Power in Dealing with People. And we are on chapter 4 today. But before we jump into that, we're going to go ahead and invite some people onto here. Some peeps. There we go. We are back. There.
What? Oh, okay. Benny's here. David's here. What did you say? Oh. 2 for Tuesdays is actually Taco Tuesday. Welcome, everybody. The Mexican peeps.
You know what else it is today? Rib Tuesday.
It is Rib Tuesday.
One of our favorite places to go grab lunch is a little barbecue place here, and every Tuesday it's half off ribs. So it's also Rib Tuesday. Alrighty. So before we got on the topic of food, we're going to talk about leadership today and how you can control the actions and attitudes of others. So if you decide beforehand that a certain person is going to be difficult to deal with, the chances that that person is going to be difficult is going to be high. And the reason is when you approach people with a hostile manner, even though you try to act out being nice to the person, people can feel your energy, and they're going to imitate whatever you're giving off. And when you do this, you set the stage for people to act on, and they raise to the occasion. So in dealing with other people, we need to see our own attitudes reflected back on us and their behavior. So whatever you're thinking about, however you think somebody is going to react, you need to look at it in the best light, or think of the person in the best light, because otherwise that's going to happen to you every time. And it's like quite a few of you guys on here of who I talked about, you know, the law of attraction. Whatever you think about is what you're going to attract as well. So if you constantly have your mind built up with all this negative stuff, you're always going to attract that. If you always think of problems, you're always going to attract problems, when really you need to change that mindset to positives of what's positive going to happen, and then you'll end up getting what you think. So how to control anger in others. So if you try to resolve conflict, if you're trying to resolve a conflict with somebody on your team, there's a way to do it by keeping everybody from getting angry in the first place, but you have to start it on time. And the key is your tone of voice. If a person starts raising their voice, another person's going to raise their voice too, and then it turns into an argument. If you keep your tone of voice soft and quiet, not so quiet where people can't hear you, because that would also tick some people off. When I say people, that would be me. I hate it when people mumble, especially when we're trying to resolve something and I'm like, did you do something wrong? It almost looks like the toddler with their head down, like, what'd you do wrong? What'd you break? And they're like, you don't want to be like the toddler. So you want to have a soft tone, but where people can hear you. But by keeping that tone, you actually keep the conversation from escalating into an argument. And that's how you can keep people at the same level and really get things resolved there. Enthusiasm is catching. So adopt the attitude and action you want the other person to express. it's contagious. So if people don't show enthusiasm over what you are doing, then you are showing people that it's really not worth the enthusiasm either. So when you're going out there and you're trying to show your presentation, if you're talking about your product or your company and you're like, yeah, this is great, this is how much money you can make, this is how this works, like there is no enthusiasm. You have to throw some energy into it. Otherwise people are like, well, if this is so great, like why aren't you more excited? You have to throw more enthusiasm into it. Now, you don't have to be completely jacked out of your mind and look like you're on something, but you do have to have enough enthusiasm. Like, this is what works, this is what it does, and this is what I'm going to go do. I'm going to go do it regardless of whether or not you're coming with me. But people can feel that energy, and you have to put that into your presentation. Otherwise, people are just like, oh, I don't know. Because the moment you put enthusiasm into the presentation, you become more certain, and people can feel that, because people want to work with people who are confident and know where they're going. And by showing enthusiasm, that's what helps create that environment. Confidence breeds confidence in how to make the most of it. So if a leader shows confidence, it also makes the team more confident. So act confident, look confident, and you'll find that you'll begin to feel more confident, and more importantly, your prospects begin to feel your confidence coming from you. So how to put magnetism in your personality. So when you instinctually like the people who we instinctively like the people and the person who knows what he wants and acts as if he expects to get it. People don't like doubters and failures. The moment you start doubting yourself, people can feel that energy. You don't you could say all the right things, but our body language says everything. And if you want people to like you and let them know that you expect to win, you need to hold your head up, look them in the eye, and walk as if you have somewhere that you need to be and you know you're going to get there. So if you believe in yourself and act as if you believe in yourself, others will believe in you. So little things give it away. Confidence has a way of showing itself in very subtle ways. And here's a couple of ways that he says that can show it. Number one is watch your walk. Your physical actions express your mental attitude. If you're slumped over all the time and you're sitting at a meeting and you have bad posture, what it's saying is you don't have a whole lot of confidence in yourself, or life is weighing you down. So a couple other examples that he gave. If a man walking along with his head and eyes down, you know he's feeling pessimistic. A timid person walks with unsure, hesitant steps as if he's afraid to let go and really step out confidently. Now, the person with confidence steps out boldly with his shoulders back and his eyes looking up and ahead. You've seen these people, like they almost seem to have a stride when they walk, but they're walking with purpose and they know where they're going. Number two, your tattletale handshake. I thought that was kind of funny. And actually, I learned this from you. And I asked him which book he got this from at one point, and he's like, you know what? I read so many books, I have no idea. And now I found it. So when it comes to your handshake, if you have a limp handshake or it's too soft, it shows a low self-confidence. If you have a bone-crushing handshake, you're trying to overcompensate for your lack of confidence. So you're trying to make it look like you're confident, but your self-esteem is like, okay, like this is what I gotta do. Also, guys, if you have a bone-crushing handshake, it's not nice when you're trying to shake hands with a lady, because I can't tell you how many times I've gone to shake somebody's hand and I damn near like flinch away. It's not nice, and it doesn't, and especially when you're meeting somebody the first time, it really doesn't put you in the best light, and it's not the best, what's the word I'm looking for? When you like first meet somebody.
I know what you're talking about. I can't think of the word either.
He can't think of it either.
Hello, Shamala.
Impression. It leaves a bad first impression on somebody. Thank you. Goodness, can't think of that word this morning. And then the next, firm a handshake, not crushing, but just enough pressure to let people know you're there. And that is what shows self-confidence. And then the third, your tone of voice. Your tone of voice communicates your feelings about yourself. So try listening to your own voice. That's why when you're doing presentations, sometimes in the beginning it helps to record yourself and actually listen to how you're speaking, because sorry, I was looking at what I wrote there. But if you're talking in a very quiet voice, are you expressing hopelessness or are you expressing courage? Have you, without realizing that, you have a habit of talking in an almost whiny manner? And do you speak up confidently, or do you mumble? And part of the time when people are going out and they're trying to do the presentation, in the beginning, you're not going to be good at your presentation. That's just how it is. Don't try to be a perfectionist. The goal is just to do as many as possible, because even if you're bad at the presentation, you can make up in numbers what you do lack in skill. And the skill will eventually come. It's just you need to do it more often. But if you're noticing that it's not going as well, try recording yourself while you're doing the presentation, because there might be some things that you're saying that are giving you away. Or not giving you away, but it's just coming across to the other person like, I don't really think this person knows what they're talking about. But the better that you get, the more you do the presentation, the more confident you're going to feel with it. And it's just going to get better the more you do it. So how to use the only way to make people better. So scolding, shaming, and threatening people does not work. Your scolding and disapproval only convinces the other person that you're disappointed in them and that you have a low opinion of them. And again, you will see your opinions reflect back to you in the other person's actions. So the best way to get another to acquire a virtue is to input it on him. So let the other person know you think that you could trust them with something, and prove that they're trustworthy. Give them a task of something that they can do and say, hey, this is something that I do need done, and I would like you to help me with it because I could trust that you're going to go get this done. By telling somebody that I trust you with this because I know you're the right person to get this done, even if they have a tendency of not following through with some things that they've said they were going to do in the past, the fact that you said, I trust you with this and I know you can do it, then they're like, oh, well, I need to live up to, because it's a compliment, and then they were like, okay, well, I need to live up to that person's expectation because they said this nice thing about me. Now I need to do it.
Sounds like John Maxwell.
It is. I think he's talked about it in quite a few of his books, but this was just worded differently where I was just like, oh, I get it now. Sometimes you need to see it from a couple different people's point of views before you actually get the lesson. But it does work. I just liked it in this one. But anywho, that's what I got out of this book today. Just when you're trying to show confidence, the more you practice your presentation, the more confident you're going to become. And then just watching your posture, practicing how are you walking through the crowd? How are you sitting? A lot of times when you're sitting with people face to face, you need to practice what is your posture, because your posture gives away what you're feeling on the inside. And are you being clear? Are you being concise? Because that's what people look for. So with that, that's what I got out of this chapter. Do you have any comments?
I mean, in dealing with conflict, I mean, it's one of the things that probably comes up most often, and most people do not handle it well. So use these techniques to get better at it, because if you have a conflict and you mess that up, I mean, you can basically ruin your chances of moving forward, especially when it comes to recruiting. You're going to bring on people that you do not agree with. You're going to bring on people that don't want to follow directions. So there is going to be, quite a bit of, no, I wouldn't say it's bad conflict. It's just, people are scared. And when people are scared, they react really, really weird. They'll do resistance. They'll say things. They'll, get fidgety. It's just, part of human nature to want to avoid conflict of want to avoid pain. And that's the other thing is a lot of people just try to avoid it because that's their personality. The S-type personality, that's 69% of the population, avoids conflict. They don't like having that sort of interaction. So they just won't do anything. They'll just not show up anymore, or not call back, or not, well, it's just easier just to kind of fade away than it is to deal with this head on. So sometimes it's just good as a leader to confront that right away. So great book.
All right.
That's awesome.
Tomorrow we're going to be going over chapter 5. And is Bess back from her trip?
I don't remember. I'll ask her.
All right. So tomorrow, if Bess is back from her trip visiting her granddaughter, she will be doing the show tomorrow. So feel free to jump up on her page, and that is Bess McCarty, and she will be doing it. If not, we will be here tomorrow. And if you guys would like the notes for this chapter, we're going to go ahead and post those on the MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show Facebook group. So if you haven't joined that group yet, you can go ahead and join that group, and we can approve it. And we will see you guys tomorrow.
Peace.